Fellow racers and member of NEAR, and on behalf of Inc. Incorporated, I want to present a few awards. I'll be very brief. Way back when, 30, 40 years ago, a lot of us used to complain that we never get any publicity. The only publicity that racing ever got when there was a fatal accident somewhere, whether it was unfortunately locally or throughout the country. Way back then, there was at least one local shining beacon who covered racing in a very positive way. And that is Mr. Sam Weisberg, who wrote for many years for the Lowell Sun. Sam grew up in the Drake, Massachusetts area, next to the famous midget racing driver Hermie DeLisle. He also grew up right down the street from Alex Benoit, who also raced and built and promoted the Lake Drake Speedway. He became a race fan, and even to this day, he's a race fan. The Lowell Sun asked him to write a column and to cover some races, which he did. And this was a very pioneering effort. Sam wrote a weekly column from 1962 through almost through the end of 1979. And this was in an era when racing never got much coverage at all. In fact, he told me the first article that he wrote, the first column, was about Smokey Boutwell, who's being inducted today. He also was a friend of and covered many races driven by Hall of Fame member, the late Johnny Thompson. I think the racing community owes people like Sam Weisberg, who are really pioneers in covering the sport in a very positive way, just a note of thanks. Could Sam please stand up? There's Sam Weisberg over in the corner, a true friend of automobile racing. Sam, would you come up so we could give you your trophy, please? While Sam is coming up, the next person who's going to receive the Inc. Incorporated Journalism Achievement Award is someone that at times we'd like to shoot him, and times we'd like to kiss him. And Sam, thank you. Okay, cool. And it's none other than our own Val LeSeiur. Could Val stand up, please? Back in the early 70s, for those who raced at Lakeville Speedway, including track champion John Kershaw, who's with us today, there was on the pit shack, there was a little bin where there was something called pit grit. And the late Phil Harris would have all the news printed out in this little sheet, and you could find out everything going on at Lakeville. Well, Phil, who's now deceased, teamed up with a guy running the Sports Weekly newspaper, a fellow named Val LeSeiur. And Val started New England Speedway scene. And before the era of the internet and all this other communication, Val was a beacon in the dark. For many years, Val's paper was the means of communication. How many of us on Thursday started looking for the paper to see what Tootie would write, to see what Bonesy would write, to see what editorial Val would write? And you know, Val's taken a lot of knocks. He's had his good times and his bad times, but you know what? The paper still comes out every week, and many of us look forward to it. So on behalf of Inc. Incorporated, the racing community, and NEAR, I'd like to call Val LeSeiur up here.
I don't have to talk too much because you guys want to eat, but Al told me that I had 3 hours that I could talk. So we'll just let it shot, and I'd like to really thank it was all the great writers and photographers that have been in the pages of Speedway Scene for these past. We went over 1,700 weeks with consecutive until finally we go 50 times a week. It's getting tougher now. The post office is getting kind of shaky, but we still get out every week. If you don't get it on time, call up and harass us, be on the list. It's been great going around with guys like Bugsy. And Bugsy, you better get out of here early. The Undertaker wants that suit. He's got a live one there that he's got to put up. Cohen's here, he's waiting to give me this cup. I might need it to drink out of. They forgot to put a glass over my table. So we'll be short. Again, we thank all of the fans, the racers. They're the ones that have really made Speedway scene. My family, my young honey over there that keeps me straight. And let's all have a good time, and we honor these guys that we're having after you finish eating. Thank you.